Hi guys, how are you doing? Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. All right, we're gonna talk about Pastor Prophet Hank Kunneman. Is the pastor of the Lord of Hosts Church in California. He's known to prophesy every Sunday. He has a lot of prophecies on his YouTube channel, even their website, and he's the one of the prophets who say Trump will be reelected. And in this video, which I watched in its entirety, he makes a lot of claim. This was a sermon on Sunday, all right, and he used almost an hour to talk about politics, mixing it with scripture, talking specifically about Trump winning the election and how the Democrats and how the media store the elections from him, okay? So this is the new gospel, I guess, and this is the new truth. It's full of conspiracy theories, but let's listen to a few of them and then we'll talk about it, all right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna play it from their YouTube channel, all right? And then let's watch.
And I'm saying that because I was actually down Fort Worth, Texas on the night of the election. And I was watching the different maps that, we had access to look at different things and how the election was being played out than probably most of you that were watching just the general news, because they had to make projections.
You have to understand Pastor Hank is very popular, okay, and very influential, all right? He goes to Kenneth Copeland Ministries almost very frequently, and he appears on set, in fact, almost weekly on one of the program called Flashpoint. They've talked about Trump and Trump prophecy and the media and all that a lot. That's what they talk about. He also did prophesy over Pastor Ben Hinn, okay? There is a video there you can watch. But now he's talking about on the election night, he was actually in Fort Worth, Texas with Kenneth Copeland Ministries, okay? Was ready to go on set, just like what he does. That's where the context is coming from.
And I was watching how counties and cities were going red. I mean, it was like a red wave was just covering the whole map. And it was even in battleground states. And I'm not making this up. This is the truth. We're not putting a spin on it. This is true. And how many of you...
One thing you have to realize that is not saying, Trump was going around the nation, the country, in his rallies, telling how fraudulent the ballots were, the mail-in ballots, With COVID, a lot of states had provision to say, oh, we're encouraging, especially the Democrats, were encouraging people to vote by mail, okay? Vote by mail. Don't go to the polling station. So Trump said, don't do it. It's all fraud. Although secretly, the Trump campaign were encouraging actually people to mail in ballots. You see, and you have to understand certain states, they cannot count the ballots until actually the election night. Okay, and so there will be a lot of votes that will come in after the election close. Okay, so and it wasn't even like secret. In fact, some of the media reports, they were even saying that actually Trump he's gonna lead by a lot during election night, because Trump supporters were coming in numbers on election day, because that's what Trump was telling them. But there were millions and millions of votes that were cast, that were mailed in, okay, that later overcame the gap that Trump had. And that is what he's not telling you. He just wants you to believe that, hey, just like Trump, he says, like, oh, by midnight, we won the election. That's why the next day he was saying, stop the counting. How can they stop counting the votes when they are those votes are legally casted. You know, they're voted legally. They should count.
You saw some of the same things happen. And then all of a sudden I felt something shift. It's like in the spirit over the nation. And I remember sitting there getting ready to go live as I was on the set. And I felt something shift over the nation. And all of a sudden they said that there was the man that was running against President Trump was going to make an announcement. That was Biden. And so as soon as he got on and began to make his announcement, I began to watch everything just come to a freeze and a standstill. It was weird. And it was almost like as he got up and he made his announcement, it was almost like the clarion call, all right, let's go and do what we're going to do.
You hear that? So when Biden came that night to speak, not to declare himself a winner, because it was clear and it was not secret that we're not going to know the winner for a few days because of the so-called mailing ballot were just overwhelming, okay? But it seems like there was a conspiracy there. Biden in charge. When he speaks, everybody, media houses, Democrats say, hey, let's go and freeze everything. And let's go and, stop this Trump surge and make sure we give it to Trump. That's what he wants you and me to believe. And what he doesn't believe, what he is forgetting also is that a lot of these states like Georgia, you have a Secretary of State who is a Republican. He voted for Trump. He wanted Trump to win, okay? The governor, this thing, but they are not telling you. So all these people conspired to freeze everything.
It was pre-planned. They already knew what they were going to do. And they already knew at any given point when the battleground states would look like that they were going to go the way of our president, that they were going to go into action and freeze everything.
Who is they that knew, that had the plan that, as soon as Biden speaks or the battlegrounds looking like Trump is winning them, let's go and change it. Let's go and swap it. So he wants you and me to believe that there was a big conspiracy to steal the election because his prophecy failed, and now he has to find some ways to explain it.
That, my friends, is not a fair election. And those of you that are United States citizens, you have a right and you should fight for your democracy and for your vote. 600,000 votes, 200,000 votes don't show up in 1 to 2 hour period for the same candidate. That ain't right. You don't find the party of the left, their ballots being found in rivers, dumpsters, or videos. No, I'm being honest. Are we talking about the truth here?
That's not the truth. You are saying this in church. Those are conspiracy theories. The ballots that were shown like they were dumped in the river, they were burnt, those were not the real ballots that really were cast for Trump and were trashed or burnt or thrown in the river. That was one of the conspiracy theory or argument the Trump campaign started bringing, but it wasn't true. There was no evidence of that. Somebody made that video and made it viral, and Pastor Hank believes that, and he's saying that is the truth.
So we got to talk about this because there's a lot of folks, and God said something to me very sobering to me. He said, it grieves my spirit and angers me that my people are attacking my true prophets and deeming them as false while they declare the news to be true at the expense of throwing away their democracy. If this thing was fair and things would not have been frozen,
what things were frozen? Who froze those things? Biden and the Democrats and the deep state? Okay, there is no evidence to that. The things were frozen for Trump. Okay, and he talks a lot about these things that it was stolen. The elections were stolen.
Amount of evidence that is starting to pile up on ballots of people's votes that never were counted, or people who aren't even alive. In fact, happy birthday to that gentleman that's 170 years of age that voted. We should be outraged.
Okay, so guys, he's talking about all these things. He outlines how the elections were stolen, according to him. Okay, it's like elections were stolen, and this is how it was stolen. But there is no merit to what he's saying. Okay, and Trump campaign had opportunity to go to court. All right, and a lot of lawsuits, more than 60, failed. All right, but when we raise questions about the prophecy that failed, we have been told, do not attack the prophets, the true prophets, like he is saying, How dare you question that? But there is no responsibility on his side on saying, I missed it. It did not happen. You said Trump will be reelected. You did not prophesy about fraud. You did not prophesy about this until after the election, when you saw that Trump is losing. Okay? And that's when now everything has been changing about this, about that. And God is powerful. I'm not sure how you may attribute to him like he didn't stop the fraud. I mean, you should have seen it that, Trump will win, then the election will be stolen. But that is not what the prophets was. And according to truth and facts and law, the elections were not stolen. All right. So guys, tell me what you think about that. I just wanted you to hear from Pastor Hank on his explanation of how the elections were stolen and how Trump won, and yet it was taken away from him. So that's it, my friend. Leave me a comment and make sure you look up the other videos that I've done. Thanks so much.